when we see service changing in the future, it's the customer experience.
Strongly believe in integrity and doing the right thing, and if we make a mistake, we own it.
You're listening to the Blacktop Banter podcast, the premier podcast in the asphalt industry, made for contractors with contractors.
Now, there are some times where I will search through the internet or come across somebody who we end up connecting a little bit in the comments section, and then I start to see posts because we end up connecting, whether becoming friends or just over certain topics in our industry and conversation. And one of those people was Adrian Alblas. So Adrian and I kind of connected last year around March 23rd. I said, hey, do you want to come on the podcast? He said, yeah. Here it took 10 months later. But we're here, right? We're back, and we're going to get this thing off and going. So Adrian informed me that Arlen is also going to join me today, which I'm very excited for. And Adrian is the president at Burnaby Blacktop. Arlen is operations manager and business partner at Burnaby Blacktop. And they've built a very unique business in Vancouver. Burnaby Blacktop is one of the largest municipal Vancouver paving companies in the Lower Mainland. They take on any size project. They serve the entire Lower Mainland with pride and work closely with municipalities, strata, property managers, developers, and landowners on all types of projects, large or small. Their relationships are based on trust and producing excellent quality work on time to meet the customer's schedules. Guys, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it today.
Thanks for having us. Thank you, Morgan, for having us.
Yeah, well, there's certain companies, like for mine, right? Like, it has notoriety just because it's on social media all the time. But when I check out Burnaby regularly, I notice that there's some accolades, and you guys are doing huge I love the drone shots and like all the project scopes because I'm an asphalt geek, of course. And upon doing research and checking into Burnaby, I've seen that you guys are voted #1 paving contractor in Vancouver in 2023, and that was the 6th year that you guys achieved that, correct?
Yeah, actually 7, yeah.
7. All right.
No.
Yeah, there's the pride. There's the pride I mentioned in the intro. I found it. Cool. That was easy. So tell me a little bit about Burnaby. I mean, it's one thing to start a paving company. It's one thing to run a paving company, but to create a paving company that wins that award 7 years in a row, and it has the capability of doing that, what does that all entail, and how did you guys start and get to that point?
Yeah, very good question, and it's been about 13 years now, Marvin. So that's when we started, about in 2010, and it actually kind of happened by a fluke. I used to work for another company in the marine industry, and there was big layoffs here at that time. And a good friend of mine at the time said, "Hey, I'll show you how to make some extra money." And we filled up a couple barrels of tar and borrowed my dad's old pickup truck. It was actually tar, it was seal coat. And we went knocking on doors selling sealer. And that's literally how it started. We sold our first job. After a day of knocking and getting 100 no's, we sold a $250 job to an old lady that should have been $800. And we just wanted to get our sign on the street and get out there. So that was the first job. And from there it rolled into, hey, can you fix the pothole in my driveway? Can you rip out my driveway and give me a new one? And from that point, I borrowed a loan from our dad for $17,000 to get our first dump truck and a little roller. And from that point, we started doing potholes and ripping out the driveways. Before we had a Bobcat, we were using a sledgehammer to hit the driveway and load the dump truck by hand. So that was the bare beginning of something, and there was no vision of a big company at that time. It was just to make some extra money. And shortly after, my brother Arlen came on board, and there was literally like 4 of us at that time. And we just kept going on that trajectory of knocking on doors, started advertising a bit, started getting phone calls, and used the power of social media.
Yep.
Back then, not many people were doing it, so we had a little bit of a jump start here. It was a lot of the older generation in paving. Yep. So that really helped us. We were getting 10, 15 phone calls a day, a year or two into it. Yeah. And we just started going that way. And Arlen basically came in and he took over the operation side of the installation. Anything he touched, whether it was a bobcat, a roller, a paving machine, he learned that thing and figured it out right away. And he could lead crews very efficiently and logistically, just got stuff done quickly, efficiently, and quality. So I kind of jumped out of the dump truck at that time and got someone driving that for me. And then I continued with the sales aspect of things and estimating. And I started bringing in new estimators underneath myself or alongside with me to do sales and feed the crews.
Wow.
And, over the last, we had a great idea in 2015. 5 years into it, we're like, well, why don't we create 10 of me and 10 crews for you? If one of me and one crew can do this well, imagine what 10 of me and 10 crews can do.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not as easy as it sounds.
Simple math. Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, simple math for sure.
Challenge accepted. So challenge accepted without thinking too deep about it. And here we are in 2000, as of 2023, 8 years later, we got to that point. So we have, I think, close to 80 people working with us, and we have our 10 estimators, and we have a wicked office staff, and we have, it's grown into something that I never thought it would. We have our own milling divisions, we have 3 paving divisions, we have our seal coating and crack sealing division, we have our residential division, commercial and industrial and municipal division, and we have our pothole division even, and there's all of them are steady at all times. So it sounds, that was the quick version of the story.
Oh,
but
for sure.
Went from the bare bones grunt work to religiously. To me, it feels like we're still at the beginning. We still live on the edge all the time. We're still investing all the time. We're still pushing to be better all the time.
Yeah.
We're always investing in systems and all the tech stuff that people have today to utilize for our operations and streamline and organize things. So we're super happy with it, and it's still, for us, it's always that rush of growing and building, and it's never really gone away. So you never really arrive at the final location. You just
you found that out too.
You find that out.
Right? Yeah, sure.
You think you just need to buy a few things and you settle down and you just kind of find a sweet spot, but for some reason we haven't. We just keep living like on the edge, basically. So
well, to hear you tell that story, I think you're like, yeah, we just did it, and then Arlen come on, and then we bought this and bought that. There's certain times I've done quite a bit of interviews now, right, with people who have started paving companies or asphalt companies in general, and there are times when inadvertently or advertently a company makes all the right moves, and even some of them that are struggle are still the right moves. It's just that you have to do that in order to find the spot where you can grow and scale. And when you're like Arlen come on, and he had a knack for running the crews, anything that we touch, and it freed me up to go over here and do sales, right? And then you guys doing that, you already had a good amount of calls coming in after the first couple of years, right? And as well as I do, those leads that turn into quotes, that turn into capital, is the bloodline and the growth of your business. You can't do it without that. So if you're able to focus on that and do it really well, from what I've found, like, this is an observation. I told you guys earlier before we got on here, I come from there's more trees right here. There's more stop signs than there are people where I'm at, right? So for me, it's a struggle pretty often, right? I'm still very heavily involved while doing this because there isn't necessarily somebody for me just to pop a sign up or put on Facebook, hey, we're looking for a sales guys. I'm looking for a crew operator, like whatever. It doesn't come in there all that hot. So we have to do it in-house most of the time and bring it up. But there are times where guys like you are in a certain position, you have a certain know-how, and you have a background that kind of allows you to really catch lightning in a bottle. And it's awesome to see because there are guys I know that they work very hard to try to build what you guys have built, right? And it's like, okay, cool. Yes, you're still working at it. You're still working hard. And they think, I'm fortunate enough, like I said, to have kind of a stage look. I know that you guys are still facing challenges, still growing, still living on that edge like all the time, but there's guys at the beginning or guys who have went for a while and are struggling. They see where you guys have made it and they're like, dang, that's it. That's the spot. So to hear you guys say, we're still going, like we didn't find the sweet spot yet. Like we're still moving, we're still building. It's very cool to see. And it's cool to hear your story about how it was built with the resources and the timing, and people's personalities fit into that. You guys know that by now with 80 people. A lot of that goes into effect of you running an efficient company that produces where it should produce, or hopefully produce in the right way. So I kind of want you to dive into that a little bit. Arlen, I'm going to ask you, because operations is a beast in itself, I'm sure you've come to find out. What are some of the challenges that you guys face currently there at Burnaby?
Challenges, I would say in the beginning years, the biggest challenges were just having the right staff, the right support, educated guys, knowing how to do the business, people that reliability. We're in a rough business. Some people don't show up to work, you're shorthanded. Those are definitely in the beginning years one of our worst challenges, but we have created such a great culture now that we don't have turnover anymore. We have the same people coming in, year out. We've made a place that people enjoy working at. So that was one challenge I feel we've come over. Definitely, it was a big hurdle over the first 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I want to work at Burnaby. I ain't even close to you guys. I want to work there.
Yeah, like being able to create the company culture is like it's something that's it's huge. Yeah, it's big. Yeah. You want to have a great place to work at. You want your employees to have pride working there. You want to do great work. You want to get the reviews perk up all our guys here. They're happy that they're getting recognized. So big recognition factor for those guys. Yep. Other challenges. It's always about doing the job faster and more efficiently. About 3 or 4 years ago, we just want to get better and faster at our jobs because that becomes more profitable. You can please more people by getting them to them faster on the calendar.
Yeah. And the sales team's throwing piles at you too, dude. Yeah. So I know that.
So we made a beautiful decision back then when we bought our first milling machine, which just made our excavations go immensely faster.
How big was the learning curve for you guys on that when you had the milling machine?
The milling machine, it was like the world was aligning it all up for us. We thought about it. We went to the expo Con Expo in Vegas.
Yeah.
Someone reached out to me randomly that used to run his own milling machine.
That happens in Vegas. I'm going to be honest with you.
God was speaking, and we're like, geez, this guy called me, and he's wondering if we have a milling machine. And I said, we don't have one, but maybe in the future. Then we go to Con Expo, got spiked up about seeing them there. And then we just made it happen, and we kind of took a gamble. But the reason that all started was we used to hire a miller and a milling company that just strictly did that. They were booked up all the time. Yep. You didn't get to do the job when you wanted.
Yep.
And we saw the possibilities of one day we had them on a 7,000 square foot job, and then we sent them to the second job, an hour down the road, another 8,000 square feet, got both jobs done in one day. And before when we were ripping that out with Bobcats, that would have been 2 days there, 2 days there, 5 days of work. And so we just were like, holy, light bulbs went off, and we're like, we want this. So that immensely helped production.
Well, where you guys are, you're similar to us, right? Like there's, you only have so many good days to do the work in the summer that you want to get it done, right? So if you can think about that, like you're talking, Arlen, and you shave off 3 or 4 days each time you mill, right? Or 2 days each time you mill, and you do it 10 times, let's just say 10 times over the summer, there's 20 days. You almost got a month back, right?
Yeah,
like, dang.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, we definitely need to be doing this. And Adrian probably like, we can get 10 guys like us. We might as well get 100 guys like us. Let's just get You guys got downtime? Oh, you guys got downtime. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll throw some more.
I'll think a little more before I speak that one. We ended up buying a second milling machine 2 years after that. So it's definitely been working for us exactly the way you
Cool.
said. So
What it did was it kind of relieved that bottleneck. We get this bottleneck every year of this backlog of jobs. We didn't want to be the company that said, no, sorry, we're 2 months out, we're 3 months out.
Yeah.
We wanted to have like a 2-week turnaround time, and
Mm-hmm.
we've been able to keep that. So we're able to do jobs quickly, fastly, and a little more nimble and quick than say some larger contractors in the area, which is nice.
So, did you guys have guys in house that trained on those, or did you recruit guys that ran the mills? Like, how did you? What was that like?
both.
Okay.
The reason we first got it was because one guy's been on a miller for 30 years
Okay.
of his life, and then he trained someone. And then we recruited another guy that was very educated in it with another company in the area. He was very interested in coming to our company. It was a conversation that took a bit, but he came
Yeah.
over. He's still here. He is an amazing teacher. He has
Wow.
taught 3 guys from the ground up, and they're running it like pros. So
Dang.
couldn't be happier with our milling crew right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Adrian, what was it like on the business side of things? I know you kind of gave us a little bit of background on the marine industry and stuff that you were in before, but like to go from 4 guys to 80 people with all different titles doing all different roles isn't exactly something that you just are born knowing how to do. So what about like the business side of things? Did you guys have a mentor? Did you have previous business experience? Do you come from a family of entrepreneurs? Like, how does that work?
Well, our dad was a dentist, so he ran his own operation, home
Okay.
practice with about 8 employees there. But to be honest, we haven't run a business before this, and we kind of just learned as we went.
Mm.
And we brought a lot of professional people on that, work their part good, but
Yeah.
it doesn't come easy. Like I remember going from the 4 people to I think when we hit 20, it really started to shake, and
Yeah.
quality goes down or this happens, and it almost gets ahead of you. So I knew a lot of guys, and they say a lot of guys will get to that 20 and they'll either break and go back down,
Yep.
or they'll pass that and they'll get through that and they'll go
We get
through it.
stable.
You get stable.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that again at the 40 mark. When we hit 40 people, it was shaky again. And I was like, oh wow, but we've kind of been through this before. Let's get through this again. And
How do you get through that? Is it hiring the right people to take delegation away? Like, is that your?
you do hire a lot of the wrong people along the way too, and you make mistakes. I always see the best in people, and I don't necessarily catch red flags that I should, or just not maybe
Yeah.
the right
Welcome to the club. Yeah. Yeah.
company,
Same thing.
right? So
Mhm.
you might get a hold of somebody that you can't get rid of for a few years, and it's tough, and you need them, and you want them there, and then eventually something in life takes them out of the company, and you get that weight off your shoulders. So there has been a lot of ups and downs and roller coasters, but once we got to the 70, 80 people, that was probably the hardest shaking we've ever felt.
Mhm.
That was during 2022. And after that, I said, Arlen, let's just stabilize kind of at this sweet spot, and let's just get comfortable, more
Yeah.
efficient.
You guys do know there's nothing above number 1 in Vancouver, right? Like right? You can't be better than number 1. Like so
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So
cool.
just to answer your question, we built it as we went, and a lot of YouTube and I followed a lot of successful people in life, just
Yeah.
online mentors and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and go to business conferences and business mastery
Yes.
conferences. So
That's a big deal.
a lot of
People
stuff.
understate that. They
Yeah.
understate that quite a bit. They think if they work harder, that's going to solve it. And it's not it. A lot of times it's your atmosphere, and it's connecting and knowing the right people that
Yeah.
kind of give you an intuition to make the right choices and whether or not this person's going to work for you or not work for you. And some of the issues that I run into at Wisco is some of the stuff that you probably ran into at 20, where some of the hires that you made, and those guys kind of came up through the business. What you hired them for necessarily isn't what they're built for, where you want them to go in the business, right? So that was something that I hired on a great right-hand man, and then when I stepped out of it and asked him to do the operations and the lead, that wasn't what he was made for. That's not what I hired him for. We lost stability there, got shaky, and that fell apart. That's when I learned okay, I have to be more tactful about my choices. And that's why you still have fall off now a little bit, right? Because as time goes on, the role changes or the business changes, and people are asked to do certain different things outside of
Yeah.
the loop. And at that point, it's hard to get somebody to say, "Hey, you want to go back to pulling the hose on the seal coat rig?" They're like, "No, man, kiss my ass. I ain't doing that, right?" So it's
Very
tough.
true. Yeah, lots of systems too. Just like learning new systems along the way. Like, oh,
Yeah,
payroll now has changed from 4 people list. We used to write
yeah,
it on paper. Now we're doing it this way. It's just everything
yep,
changes incrementally along the way, and it's
yeah.
just a big learning curve the whole way up.
Yeah, you always
So
think you're going to get paid, right? Like, dude, I'm going to make, yeah, dude, I'm about to get paid. And then, like, you hire on 3 more people, and then you don't realize the cost of hiring on 3 more people. And then you're like, well, maybe next year I'll get paid. Yeah, for sure.
next year,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think
So,
I said that for the first 5 years. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
let's talk about that a little bit then, because you guys have taken us on a journey now from where you started to kind of where you are. And you talked a little bit, Adrian, about here at 80 employees ish or so, you guys are trying to stabilize. And you also mentioned the fact that you're still trajecting a little bit. And what I've come to find out is there's a couple aspects when it comes to having a balancing act of scaling. And one of them are we do more work, we sell more jobs, we hire more employees, and we get a larger top end number. Other times, it's internal. It's, hey, we really, like Arlen just hinted to it, we made systems and processes better. We got better software. You talked about earlier, Adrian, where we're able to be more efficient, and you're able to create increase without actually having to create increase, right? And then once that's stable, then maybe it's time to hire the guys back on again and get another crew and do whatever. So I would like for you to talk a little bit about that. Like, for you guys to be able to do that and adapt as you've scaled it, you have to have some type of intuition about what you need or the direction you need to go. So that's my question now is, um, what do you feel how we provide service in the industry will change in the coming years, whether that's directly to the client or whether it's putting the mat down. We've seen technology advancements, whether it's AI or seismic technology or LiDAR, like the drone technology is getting to be something that people are adapting quite a bit as well. Like, what do you kind of see if you were, as a contractor like me? I always love this question when I'm asking a contractor because they see it the way that I see it. And I was kind of curious what you guys would think.
Yeah, I do see a lot of technology changes for sure. We talked earlier about density compacting rollers that know when you're at the sweet spot.
Yeah.
There's even, I think, Dynapack or Bomag's doing no operator rollers, like things
Yeah.
like that are just electric. And now I think all that stuff is great and we're kind of just getting into that. But I think to serve right now, I still believe in that human touch and just really having that relationship that you nurture with clients as they come in the door and just creating a culture where all the people here do that same thing. And the biggest thing is wanting people to do business with you, and then as well stay up to date with great equipment. We're always buying top of the line, up to date, good equipment, and we're just starting to see this new technology and sort of possibly experiment with it. So
Yeah.
that is coming, and it will become normal as we go too. So you kind of want to stay ahead of the curve of it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What about on the operations side and whatnot? And that's kind of office question too, I guess. Like, you guys got a lot of people. How do you keep track of everybody? Where they're at, what they're doing, the trucks, the vehicles, the equipment. Like, what does that look like for you guys?
Oh, you kind of
Oh, yeah. Well, we have Salesforce as a software that keeps us very organized for our calendar and everything like that, invoicing all that. It's a beautiful software. We have someone in house that can update anything we think. Develop it. It's just we've turned this thing into nothing to something that provides us service year round, from paving all the way to winter service.
Yep.
So that's a huge tool for us. Obviously, things are all GPS these days. You need to track all your vehicles and all that kind of stuff. Samsara is
Yeah.
very helpful as well.
Yeah.
Maintenance time. Is it maintenance time for you guys right now?
Maintenance, yeah, maintenance. Samsara's a huge help for that too, because in the past we've had issues having a really good maintenance program. About 5 years ago, that would have been a problem.
Yeah.
Samsara, we've had Safe Tap. They guys log in their information every morning, do their pre-trips, make deficiency reports. If there's issues, it gets sent to the mechanic. It's red flagged. Like it's all
Okay.
systemized now, so you're not just buying millions of dollars of equipment, running it into the ground,
Yeah.
and not using it effectively. So we got protocols in place that really allow us to fix things in priority sequence, because there's 76 pieces of equipment out there in our company, and it's all got to be tracked and systemized and put in order.
And again, all this stuff wasn't in place at the right time.
No,
It usually happens after.
it was 5 years.
I was gonna say there's a story. There's a story with every software that you guys have used. Yeah, right behind it.
I think it was when ICBC sent us a letter saying your insurance rates are going up $100,000 this year from little fender benders and bumps here.
Yeah,
And that's our insurance provider for all of our vehicles. But
that was the
kicker to let's do some driver safety. Let's track all the drivers. Let's give awards for the best drivers in the company. Let's become course certified. Let's have the highest level of safety in the lower mainland. So we really went after all those things, but usually it came after some pain point.
Yeah.
And
Did your insurance rates go down? Did they give you better insurance
it
rates?
all dropped. We've got the maximum insurance you can get off now. So
Wow.
you hurt and then you fix and you get better and then you stay there. So you learn as you go. Again.
Yeah, you get a little bit of pain. You try to avoid that again, right? Going the next day. I'm incredibly proud of the Blacktop Banter Edition seal coating unit, produced in partnership with KM International and available in both 550 and 700 gallon versions. Custom built on the same frame as their bulletproof hot boxes, I work closely with KM to design what I believe is the best seal coating unit on the market, a unit designed by a contractor for contractors. Learn more about the unit and to see a walkthrough of the entire unit by visiting kminternational.com.
Hey, Jessica Lombardo with Pavex, the Pavement Experience, and I want to invite you all to join us in San Antonio for the first ever event. It will be held January 30th through February 1st at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center. We are going to have a live equipment demonstration over 2 days, 60 hours of educational programming, and a full trade show floor with over 75 manufacturers of equipment in the paving and pavement maintenance space. So please join us there, and to learn more and get yourself registered, visit www.pavexshow.com.
If you're serious about efficiency and performance, listen up. The Craftco SuperShot 125 is not just a melter, it's a strategic pavement maintenance advantage. Quick startups, fume-free, automatic agitator shutoff, a splash-proof lid, and pumping on demand, these features are essential for any serious asphalt maintenance contractor. So don't settle for mediocrity. Elevate your game with the Craftco SuperShot line of melters by visiting craftco.com today.
In my opinion, Dynapack CC900G roller is the best roller on the market for driveway and small parking lot paving contractors. The seismic technology in these rollers is unbeatable for the smoothness and compaction they provide, and I'd choose the Dynapack CC900G over the little yellow roller that you're used to seeing every single time. But don't just take my word for it. Check them out in person at Pavex and World of Asphalt, or visit Dynapack.com to find a dealer near you.
Hey Blacktop Banter fans, this is Michael with Aquafault. Say goodbye to potholes and roadway damage without the need for large crews, heavy equipment, or toxic chemicals. Aquafault is the only permanent repair material for asphalt and concrete that uses water. And installation is simple. Just pour, add water, and tamp. It's that easy. An Aquafault repair can be open to traffic immediately and fully sealed within 24 hours. Plus, the product is backed by a 3-year warranty and made in the USA. Visit aquafault.com. That's AQUAPHALT.com to learn more.
In the past year, Jobber has been our CRM of choice at Wiscode, and it's made our world exponentially better efficiency-wise. The request to quote and quote to invoice process is seamless and professional. The scheduling aspect keeps us on point and the team leaders moving throughout the day from project to project while the timesheet feature tracks the team members' hours. For our small seal coating company, it has helped build the solid foundation we can scale from. Jobber is now a sponsor of Blacktop Banter and helps bring this show to you. With this partnership, Jobber is offering an exclusive savings to BB listeners of 20% off for 6 months. To take advantage of this, find the Jobber link in the show description and get to improving your process today.
Hi contractors, it's Kyla from Wiscoat. We use Stencil Plus for all of our pavement marking stencils. Alphabet letters, numbers, directional arrows, handicap markings, you name it. We use it and we get it all from Stencil Plus. Right now, for a limited time, you can save 10% on your stencil order by using code BB10 during checkout at stencilplus.com or by calling 877-372-6055.
Contractors, you need to make it easy for potential customers to reach you. Get a custom phone number from the 800 Pavement Network and plaster it on the side of your trucks and rigs, and I guarantee you'll see increases in leads and jobs booked. Get yours by calling 1-800-728-3636.
World of Asphalt is the leading asphalt trade show and conference, and it will be taking place on March 25th through the 27th, 2024 in Nashville, Tennessee. From mainline to maintenance, the show will be your one-stop shop to see everything the asphalt industry has to offer. Registration is now open, and listeners can save 20% off registration with the code BB20 when they register on worldofasphalt.com. One thing you were talking about that might be one of the last things we talk about here on the episode is the customer experience. You kind of mentioned, Adrian, like that's what, when we see service changing in the future, it's the customer experience. Can you guys talk about that a little bit on what customers of Burnaby can expect that they might not be expecting to receive from a different company or any asphalt company?
Yeah, I think we strongly believe in integrity and doing the right thing. And if we make a mistake, we own it. And, we've made mistakes and we've had to excavate some pretty large jobs that we put in that failed. And when, an owner of a company, the other company you're doing work for comes up and shakes your hand and credits you for doing the right thing when a lot of other guys would have ran or left you hanging, that's the kind of word that spreads. It costs us a lot of money immediately, but the universe seemed to just reward us after that. And so that word gets around, and still to this day, we may make a mistake and we'll own it and we'll fix it. And I think having that credit behind you is a free opportunity to advertise by doing the right thing. When some guys will fight or argue or, our goal is to leave every customer happy, satisfied, and coming back for more, or at least saying good things about us. And, if you do get the odd hard cases, I've got it down to about 2 out of 100 clients where they're just real difficult people. Yeah. And I take that as a personal challenge where I'll even jump in when nobody else can seem to fix it. And I'll take it a personal challenge. I'll go wash their car or bring them lunch or do something nice for them just to show like, hey, we're not the norm. We're here to make you feel good. We're here to serve you. And we want to leave you lasting good relationships with us. So I take it like really serious.
I think it starts from the start though too. Like Adrian's trained the estimator so well, just customer service right from the start. Yeah. The lead comes in, he sends it in 5 minutes. It's gone to an estimator. They're calling within 15 minutes. And sometimes if we're in the right spot, we're at their house in 30 minutes to an hour, giving them a quote. They're getting a quote. They're getting put on the schedule immediately once accepted. And we live by our schedule. Yeah. If there's a conflict, they get a personal phone call and we move them to the next best date for both of us or for them, depending on what we can do.
What you're describing is culture. Like your guys' culture is bleeding over into the customer experience. Yeah. Right? I mean, that's essentially what you guys need from your team at Burnaby in order for it to be 8 years in a row, number one in Vancouver. You are giving to your clients, so they're essentially becoming part of that. What you need is what you're giving, therefore you're hoping to receive it back again as well. And I think there's a phrase there that you said, Adrian, which is ironic because I was a little late to get into this podcast. You guys were here before I clicked it. And that's because I was putting the finishing touches on an article for Allied Paving Equipment magazine titled "Do the Right Thing," right? And for me, that needs to be a culture shift in our industry. The contractors need to start with that, because if you start with that, you can have guys where you have 2 out of 100, Adrian, where because you guys have such great culture, but there's some guys where it's 10 out of 100, right? And they're like, nah, I'm dealing with just pain in the butt clients. And the reason that they're pain in the butt clients is because they had an experience before with another contractor that didn't do the right thing. And now they're gun shy about hiring you or hiring whoever because they had a bad experience wherever you are. If you can do the right thing, like you guys have done, it ends up being a culture shift that bleeds over into your client, right? And there's 2 things that happen. They're always going to hire Burnaby, right? Because they're like, dude, this is a game changer for us. We love it. Or if something happens, the next, whether they move on or it changes ownership and they have a paving company that they want to work with or whatever, or a new paving company, there's an expectation, right, that, hey, this is the type of contractor I want to work with. And for me, that means maybe, and I believe you guys probably have seen it. We've done it here in our small market with Wiscoat. It ends up being a win all around because I charge a premium for what we do. Like, because people are getting our integrity, they're getting our customer relations, they're getting me personally, I charge more for that because I know I'm not going to let them down. The same way you said you're going to get involved and bring them coffee and do whatever. Like, I want to make sure they're getting their value for what we're going to do, because I believe that's how we change the industry, how we build strong brands, and how people look at our industry in a lot more respectful light. It might take a few generations for us to do that at this point, but we have the capability to do it. You guys are talking, you'll go back and tear a project up and put it down correctly. It's just, what do you want to give, right? Do you want to fight them over this job, and you're releasing a good customer experience, you're releasing expectations, you're giving bad word of mouth, or you do what you're supposed to do, get good word of mouth, right? Chances are, if you guys are paving a project, I imagine it's pretty effing big, right? So this person who owns it probably has some weight to say whoever to whatever, or owns more properties or whatever. So for me, you saying do the right thing, me writing the article about thing is one of these universe things that you guys were talking about. The universe brought you the right stuff or says the right things. This is one of them. And I think that sometimes the right people find the right people, same way we did in March. Now it's taken 10 months, Adrian. What you guys have built up and have culture and what you stand by is what I do and what we do here as well. I applaud you in the fact that you're doing that in an industry where that shift needs to be made, right? So, I believe the number one is well deserved for sure. The last question I'm going to ask you guys is overall life experience, right? I mean, you guys didn't deal with being in charge of 80 people right out of the gate, so I'm sure there's some experiences and stuff you've learned there. You also both have personal lives, right, that you have to deal with as well along the way. So if you were going to draw from one over, if it was Marvin and I was coming up to hang out and say, guys, I'm trying to scale, trying to figure this out, do you have any advice? What would it be?
The first thing that comes to my mind is stay calm and don't react right away. That's a big one that's helped me along the way. Things happen, catastrophes happen, bad things happen to you, and I stayed calm. Sometimes it would take me, a week to come to some kind of conclusion where I can create a win-win situation until I felt good internally. But usually when something happens, you can get rattled, and you just have to stay calm, take a few days or take a few hours, whatever it takes, then react. And I find that having control of your reactions has been such a positive thing, because you can react in such a positive way to change a situation. And I find that's probably the first thing that popped in my head.
No, that's a good piece of advice. I mean, it's an expensive business, right?
Yeah.
The equipment's expensive. The materials equipment. The customer is paying for an expensive service. Like, because it's expensive, it gets emotional, like right away. Right? And I think there's been times, that's a great piece of advice, reflecting, because there's times where I've thought, oh shit, my world's ending, and went to bed and woke up the next day with the escape plan, right? Of how to
Yes.
There you
handle
go.
the
There
situation
you
and
go.
make it right. Very, very good, very good. Arlen, what about you, man?
I
Drink coffee. Arlen said drink a lot of coffee, right?
biggest along the way, I do love stay calm because you do have to. But I guess one of the biggest things that helped me kind of excel was, and let other people actually excel around me, was not micromanage everything. Like breathe a little, like let someone else grow in that section of the company. Because before, when we were 4, 5, 6 guys, and then you're 20 guys, you're like, shit, I gotta touch everything still.
Oh yeah.
But Adrian enlightened me, and I went to a nice course that enlightened me around that 20 stage people in the company, and it was get out of that position, let those guys grow in those positions, and that was a big breaking point for us in the company as well. It was the time when Adrian said, let's make 10 of each other, and that was, I would had to get out of my, I had to touch it, so it had to be perfect kind of attitude. And it wasn't letting people grow around me, and that helped me a huge amount.
Every time I came to the job, Arlen was the one in the Bobcat or on the loop. And I'm like, Arlen, what are you doing? You got 6 guys standing around you watching you.
Yeah.
It's time to get out of that and let them grow. And it's what he did.
But yeah, there was a fear factor in all that too, because you don't want to.
I was just gonna say it's a hard thing to let go of.
This is beginning stages. This money, the company's just starting to make money. There's a fear factor of ruining a job, right?
Yep.
So, but when we have the integrity that we have, when we know we'll fix our mistakes, that's a kind of relief of, we can grow and we're going to own our mistakes.
Yeah. No, both of those are fantastic pieces of advice, guys. Where can we find Burnaby online? And Adrian, I know we can find you on LinkedIn for sure. That's usually where you and I connect, and on Facebook once in a while. But where can we find Burnaby online? Because I believe I follow somewhere where I can check out all the badass jobs you guys install.
Yeah, so I think we're on all your social medias: Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, basically all of them, Twitter, everywhere. And then you can also Google our website as well. But probably social media is probably the best place to see up-to-date stuff happening daily or weekly. Anyways, for sure.
It's cool now because I get a little sneak peek now that I know what it took to get you guys there and what you went through. And plus now I got a resource, so I got to ask these questions because those are issues that I'm sure to face and that a lot of growing businesses are sure to face as time goes on. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. This was an international call. I know you're not too far away from me, but still an international call. And I appreciate you guys being here and us finally looking to make it happen. Are we going to see you guys at any conferences or anything? You're going to come down our way?
Yeah, I wanted to make the what's the next Asphalt in March.
Yes, World of Asphalt's in March. Blacktop Banter has a booth there. If you guys are going to come, I'd love to see you.
I was gonna make it, but I'm having my first baby middle of March, so I'm starting right now. So unfortunately,
you thought things were shaky before. Oh.
So, but if not, I'll see you at the next one for sure. One of the other conventions for sure.
Sounds good, man. Well, I appreciate you guys joining us and spending time and sharing your story with us. It goes a long way, and I know, especially with what you guys have going on, your time is very valuable. So I appreciate you giving back to our community with your insights and experience and joining me here today.
Marvin, I just want to say thank you to you too. I admire what you're doing, and I get such a kick out of watching all your stuff and how you connect people and conferences and just your podcast. I think it's awesome, and I think it's something new to the industry too, and I think it's excellent. So I appreciate you doing all that too. Thank you.
Thanks, man. They say I'm number 2 though. Like, I guess that might not be measuring up to anybody. I think that probably
gotta chase it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, guys, for joining us today here on Blacktop Banter. If any of the listeners or watchers are curious about Blacktop Banter, you can go to blacktopbanter.com You can find out some information there. When you get there, there'll be a landing page with a newsletter sign up. We'd love to have you sign up for that thing. It is written by contractors. They're seal coating contractors, paving contractors, striping contractors in the industry for the industry. And there's also some information about our sponsors who make this show happen, and sometimes some insight on some things that they might offer as well. On the flip side, when you go to blacktopbanter.com, you can click the drop-down tab and find the Blacktop Banter Success Group, which is a group of contractors. Some are just starting out, some are very well experienced, and we use it as a mastermind. There's 3 calls each month, Zoom calls, where we all connect. We share some insights. We answer each other's questions. Sometimes we bring outside guests to help us with questions or insights that we have as contractors in the asphalt industry. There's also a 24/7 chat group, exclusive vendor discounts from some of the largest vendors in the asphalt industry. There's also a Google Drive where you can share documents and information to help you on your journey growing your business. And as of late, brand new, we have opportunities for national contract work across the country. So if you join that, you'll have access to some of our friends that own some of these companies who have these contracts and need your help as contractors completing these projects. Lastly, please check out missionimpact.com. It's a mission in Guatemala where we build fuel-efficient stoves for families who can't afford them or don't have the know-how to build them. We supply fresh water in certain areas, and we build custom wheelchairs for young people who can't get around the rugged terrain there in Guatemala. You can check out Blacktop Banter on social media at Blacktop Banter almost everywhere. So, for myself here in the little podunk rural area of southwest corner of Wisconsin, and for the from the number one paving contractor in all of Vancouver, I'm Marvin Joles of Blacktop Banter. My guests today were Adrian Alblas and Arlen Alblas, and believe it or not, we speak asphalt. Peace. Hey everybody, Marvin here from Blacktop Banter, and if you enjoy the podcast and what we've been bringing to the industry, you can support us through a one-time or recurring donation at blacktopbanter.com. There we have a support tab. You click that and choose your path from there. If you listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please do us a favor and leave a review there for us as well. As always, we speak asphalt, and thanks for your support. This episode of Blacktop Banter is brought to you by Craftco, the world's leading manufacturer of packaged pavement preservation materials and equipment for the asphalt industry. Learn more at craftco.com.